you were still massively involved with the game, in many respects. I was saying when I was watching South Africa, Ireland and South Africa, I think you're on the Punditry there was Rob Kearney and someone else for Virgin. So with that experience, I can imagine it's quite an interesting one to be on the other side of it, because I'm sure you'd have, with you being a former player, there you probably have an onus on, you're not really going to criticize too much either, or anything like that potentially. But what's it like, having been, playing professional rugby at such a high level, and then, coming into Punditry? What's the whole experience like there?
Yeah, it's actually something I've really enjoyed. I was very, very lucky that, Virgin asked me to do it. And alongside that, the training they gave me in both being able to do the co-commentary and also doing the Punditry and kind of analyst work. But as a player, I would have done a lot of it. I would have worked closely with the coaches on formalizing the game plan, trying to find flaws in the opposition defense, and trying to formulate plays that suited our attacking shape and our attacking quality and our individuals. So being able to carry that into the Punditry side isn't something that's massively different. And I've just really enjoyed it. I try and visualize myself in people's living room, just trying to share my own opinion. And if they want to agree with me, great. And if they want to disagree with me, that's totally fine as well. But I've really enjoyed it.
I'd say even with the training and that kind of thing, I'd say the first day is probably still very like, you're going to, it's 3, 2, 1, you're live. You're maybe there with people who are experienced, and you kind of, I'd have even seen with, rugby pundits, you see, growing up, or even kind of the soccer punditry you would have watched, or, in the GAA, like definitely Joe Brawley being a very famous case of, an experienced pundit sort of, knowing the kind of, the tricks of the trade, in a sense. Like even when you're going in live and it's your first time, it's, other people have been there for a while. Is that a kind of a pressurizing moment to kind of get started when it's not something that you have all the experience in the world doing?
Yeah, no, it is. It's really pressurizing. I remember I was so nervous before the first one, and like doing it in the World Cup, like the viewership is far higher than you'd get for example, a URC game, which might be an easier way to start. But yeah, I remember, I think it was Rob Kearney said it to me. He was like, just before we went live, he was like, best of luck, guys. There's only 800,000 people watching. And, that's the worst possible way to think that you're presenting in front of that many people. But as the games went on, I just tried to visualize myself as just having a conversation with, the panel of, let's say, Joe Malloy, Matt Williams and Rob. And that's when, you're comfortable in their company, and you're comfortable to give your opinion. And if you can deliver your opinion well with the 3 other people you're with, then hopefully it comes across well on TV. Whereas if you're thinking you're presenting to that many people, you're going to crumble and you're not going to be able to get your words out.
Is there ever a pressure, I wonder, in punditry to, I don't want to say get sound bites necessarily, but you'd see pundits who stayed on for a long period of time. The reason I mentioned Joe Brawley there is because we all remember, certain rants that he would have had on the kind of on the Sunday game and this sort of thing, or, other pundits, they say very notable things, I suppose would maybe be a better way of putting it. Is there ever a pressure in that way? Because you've this balance of, a lot of the guys out there, you're obviously going to have your view on nearly how the game should be played as well. Is there a pressure to kind of say things that are, memorable, let's say, or anything like that in terms of, being, I suppose more the kind of widely recognized, throughout the industry in a way?
Yeah, it's definitely a fine balance. I suppose for me as well, I'm only just out of the game, so I'm still friends with a lot of the guys who I'd be effectively, analyzing in the games. And the last thing you want to do is throw someone under the bus and say, look, that was terrible, or that was an awful decision, whereas I suppose I would have definitely put some thought into the phrases I was using. So for example, saying, that fell below David's usual high standards is a good way of saying it. But, you also don't want to be vanilla and boring. It's very important that you give your opinion. And I think for me, having just finished playing, the advantage I had was very much from an analysis point of view and understanding, what teams were trying to do, their attacking shape, what they were doing defensively, and trying to spot those trends and being able to spot them quickly. So you can, watch the first 40 minutes and then present at halftime. And that was definitely what I would have relied on through the World Cup. And I think as you get more comfortable in what you're seeing and your opinions, that you can then be a bit more critical. But then it's also really important that you're complementing that with the positive stuff that you're seeing and watching it through a positive lens.